Three, two, one, 1, 2, 3. Welcome back from spending time with me. I need a break. I just had a spaz session with my child, and I hate it. I really, really hate it. But there's no, I don't know what to do. He's 14. He's been gone out of my house for almost 2 years now. I called these people, what are they called? The PENS, person in need of supervision. They came for a little bit, and the guy had to close his case out because, oh, I haven't seen him in 4 weeks, so we're going to close out your case. No crap, you haven't seen him in 4 weeks, because that was the reason why I called you. I can't get him to stay home. My son gave him a phone that he wasn't supposed to. My little niece is texting me. We're going to put on our do not disturb. But, just, I don't know. I guess all I can do is pray, and pray some more. And everybody's telling me there's nothing they can do. They can't make him do anything that I can't make him do. I asked him to come home and help. I gave him a list of stuff that needs to be done. I have a whole chore chart on the wall. There's a lot of stuff. I don't have a car right now because of him. There's a window broken because of him. There's a lot of stuff that he's costing me, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know what I'm doing. So I just want to take a minute and spend time with God and spend time with you guys, because I don't know what else to do other than, like I said, pray, and pray some more. On a positive note, I finished another hat for our Warmth of Love. I'm working on a glove. I've seen a YouTube video, so I gotta do 24 rows. And I finished another hat. This one's a little bit bigger than the other one. I'm not sure why, but I'm just, like I said, I'm just here giving my heart a break because I'm tired. I'm so tired. Life is hard. Parenting is hard. Being alone is hard. Building a house is hard. Life is just hard. I'm tired. I told him I'm tired. He says, I know. No, I don't think you know. You would help a lot more, and you would be there. And that's what makes me sad the most, is when my mother used to beat us and used to be mean, and I would do anything to make her happy. And they just don't care. They don't care if you're happy, if you're sad. They don't care how I'm feeling. He's in my room eating all my snacks, drinking all my soda, which is okay, but first of all, don't you think you need to ask? You ain't been home in how long, and now all of a sudden you want to just come and eat us out of house and home? Which I know, they're growing boys, but really? I got food that you can cook, I can cook. Tell me what it is that you want me to cook. And, it just, like I said, it's just really hard, so I want to take a break, and, I do have a goal of my own of doing 365 videos before the end of the year is what I'm going for. So I'm almost I need 100 more videos before the end of the year. And where are we? October, November, December. I have 2 months to do 100 videos. It's been almost 4 years, and I don't even have 1 year, 365 days, 365 videos done yet. And to me, that's really sad, because, like I said, it's been, since almost 5 years, actually, since I've been doing and granted, to YouTube, I'm not sure how many years it is. I'm pretty sure it wasn't that much longer after I started the Spotify podcast. So anyways, I'm here to try to achieve my goals, get in a break for the day. I'm flushed and exhausted. I'm just tired. So I'm just going to work on what I can work on instead of, I can't be a parent. I don't know. I'm trying so hard. I really am. I've tried talking to him. I've tried crying to him. I've tried everything but beat him. And I'm not trying to beat him because it hurts me more than it hurts him, because I know what it's like to be hit, and I know Steve Harvey said it, you care more about their feelings than anything, and yes, I do, because it's a lot of my mental problem was, you know, not thinking that my mother cares. And I know that he sometimes thinks that I don't care because, like I said, when he is here, all I do is yell, and I hate it. And I tell him that, like, I hate being the bad guy. I don't know what else to do, though. I don't know what else to do. Like I said, I've tried to sit him down. I've tried to talk to him. I've asked him basic stuff, and, you know, help me put the clothes in the laundry. He puts half the clothes in the, like I said, I'm doing clothes by hand, so I hung up some clothes in my shower. So I said, can you take the clothes out of the shower and put it in the dryer? He took like 2 towels out of the thing and go puts them in the dryer. Like, really? I asked him to do the dishes. Does half the dishes. Like, everything is half. Not even, you know what I mean? And then it makes me to be the bad guy, because either I gotta do it myself or, you know, ask him to do it again. And it just is so hard. Anybody got parenting tips? Anybody got anything? I need, like, boot camp, anything. He's 15, he'll be 15 next month, and I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm doing this. I don't know. Even my 9-year-old, like I said, he tried to run away to a friend that I told him I didn't want him around. So he tried to pack his bags and leave. Like, I don't know. I do not know. And I always say that that's a good thing, I guess, to, you know, not know. I just don't like it because this parenting thing, it's the hardest job, but there's like no support. You can't call anybody and be like, hey, so I'm going through this. You think you can, like, help me out? And especially, I ain't got no friends or family. I called my niece, but they live in Alabama, and they're like trying to help me out and, you know, making suggestions of what I can and can't do, and asking me, you know, if you come down here, we'd help you. I appreciate that, but God put me here, and I don't know why. I still don't know why. I don't know why. Because I came here with my husband, and now my husband's gone, and now I'm really alone, and my kids are taking more advantage now than they were before, and it hurts a lot. Like, I'm losing so much energy, and I just don't know. I have the biggest headache. I'm just exhausted mentally, physically, and I'm just exhausted. I really am so exhausted. So, dedication of the firstborn. He's my firstborn son. He's not my firstborn child, but he is my firstborn son. So we'll get into it and let our friend read, and I will do as I do when spending time with you guys. God love you. God loves you. And even though life is hard and we are human, it's got to be worth it. It has to be worth it. You know, I have to keep thinking of how I used to tell his dad that, you know, I'm the one crying, but God will get me out of there, and he did. So now, I don't know. I'm going to be the one crying, and God will get me out of this too. I don't know how, and I know it hurts, and I know it's hard. But we'll get through it. So we have, dedication of the firstborn, and then Israel's wilderness detour. I think that's the one that was the 40 years, and it looks like it continues on to chapter 14, so I might do this one as a double chapter as well, because they look kind of short. So we'll do 13 and 14 with this video, and then we'll get into it. I love you. What are you doing?
Exodus chapter 13, dedication of the firstborn. Then the Lord said to Moses, dedicate to me every firstborn among the Israelites. The first offspring to be born, of both humans and animals, belongs to me. So Moses said to the people,
this is a day to remember forever. The day you left Egypt, the place of your slavery. Today, the Lord has brought you out by the power of his mighty hand. Remember, eat no food containing yeast. On this day in early spring, in the month of Abib, you have been set free. You must celebrate this.
I love that. The month of Abib, I believe, is the month of April. On this early day in the spring, in the month of Abib, Hebrew, on this day of the month of Abib, the first month of the ancient Hebrew lunar calendar, occurs within the months of March and April. So I love that because that's what we had mentioned, whatever, when we were looking at our lunar count. Where's this? Where are you? Right here. The Israel annual calendar. It starts in the month of Abib and Nisan, which is mid-March to mid-April. Spring, latter rains, barley harvest, and Exodus 12:2. So I love that. That's my birthday is in April, and I love my birthday, April 13th. It sometimes falls on Friday the 13th, and I absolutely love Friday the 13th because it's always been good to me. So, and I think that's why I used to like Freddy Krueger when I was little, because, Friday the 13th, and I love it so much. So, continue.
Event in this month each year after the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Hivites, and Jebusites. He swore to your ancestors that he would give you this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. For 7 days, the bread you eat must be made without yeast. Then, on the 7th day, celebrate a feast to the Lord. Eat bread without yeast during those 7 days. In fact, there must be no yeast bread or any yeast at all found within the borders of your land during this time. On the 7th day, you must explain to your children, I am celebrating what the Lord did for me when I left Egypt. This annual festival will be a visible sign to you, like a mark branded on your hand or your forehead. Let it remind you always to recite this teaching of the Lord. With a strong hand, the Lord rescued you from Egypt. So observe the decree of this festival at the appointed time each year.
So it says, on the 7th day, you must explain to your children, I am celebrating what the Lord did for me when I left Egypt. This annual festival will be a visible sign to you, like a mark branded on your hand or on your forehead. What is the significance? Because we're going to get into it later about the mark of the beast being either on your hand or on your forehead. And now God is saying that it is the mark of him that is branded on your hand or forehead. The annual festival will be a visible sign to you, like a mark branded on your hand or your forehead. Like, let it remember you always to recite these teachings of the Lord with a strong hand. The Lord rescued you from Egypt. Or, let it remind you always to keep the instructions of the Lord on the tip of your tongue, because with a strong hand, the Lord rescues you from Egypt. So there's significance. Again, I don't know what it is, but I do know that there is significance because, like I said, we're going to get into it later. I think it's in Revelations, the second time, where be careful of the mark of the beast. So here we go again.
This is what you must do when the Lord fulfills the promise he swore to you and to your ancestors. When he gives you the land where the Canaanites now live, you must present all firstborn sons and firstborn male animals to the Lord, for they belong to him. A firstborn donkey may be bought back from the Lord by presenting a lamb or a young goat in its place. But if you do not buy it back, you must break its neck. However, you must buy back every firstborn son.
So say that again. This is what you must do when the Lord fulfills a promise that he swears to you and your ancestors. When he gives you the land where the Canaanites now live, you must present all your firstborn sons and firstborn male animals to the Lord, which is what I am dealing with right now. My firstborn son. I'm trying to present him to the Lord. How does this work, right? Firstborn son and firstborn male animals to the Lord, for they belong to him. A firstborn donkey may be bought back from the Lord, right? So you're going to bring back a firstborn donkey back from the Lord by presenting a lamb or a young goat. You buy the donkey by presenting a lamb or a young goat in its place. But if you do not buy it back, you must break its neck. No, just kidding. But however, you must buy back every firstborn son. So how do you buy the firstborn son, right? How do you buy back your firstborn son? Do you present the donkey, the goat? So if you buy the donkey, you're buying the donkey back from God. You present a lamb or a young goat, right? So how do you buy your firstborn son?
And in the future, your children will ask you, what does all this mean? Then you will tell them, with the power of his mighty hand, the Lord brought us out of Egypt, the place of our slavery. Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go, so the Lord killed all the firstborn males throughout the land of Egypt, both people and animals. That is why I now sacrifice all the firstborn males to the Lord, except that the firstborn sons are always brought back. This ceremony will be like a mark branded on your hand or your forehead. It is a reminder that the power of the Lord's mighty hand brought us out of Egypt.
Israel's wilderness detour. When Pharaoh finally let the people go, God did not lead them along the main road that runs through Philistine territory, even though that was the shortest route to the promised land. God said, if the people are faced with a battle, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led them in a roundabout way through the wilderness toward the Red Sea. Thus the Israelites left Egypt like an army ready for battle.
So God led them in a roundabout way through the wilderness toward the Red Sea. Hebrew Sea of Reeds, which we already knew. Thus the Israelites left Egypt like an army ready for battle. Greek version reads, left Israel in the 5th generation. Left them in the 5th generation. So that means, does that mean there's 5 generations of Israelites? Interesting.
Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, but Joseph had made the sons of Israel swear to do this. He said, God will certainly come to help you. When he does, you must take my bones with you from this place. The Israelites left Succoth and camped at Etham at the edge of the wilderness. The Lord went ahead of them. He guided them during the day with a pillar of cloud, and he provided light at night with a pillar of fire. This allowed them to travel by day or by night. And the Lord did not remove the pillar of cloud or pillar of fire from its place in front of the people.
So, couple things. Moses took the bones of Joseph. Remember the story of Joseph, who was sold into slavery and then ended up saving everybody, right? And then the ruler who didn't know what Joseph did ended up enslaving the Israelites, right? So Moses took the bones of Joseph with him. Wonder if it was in a coffin or how was that, right? And God will certainly help you. When he does this, take my bones with you, not my dead body, right? Because he knew that it's been years, right? So they left the camp at the edge of the wilderness. The Lord went ahead of them. Can you imagine a pillar of cloud during the day and at night a pillar of fire? That must have been gorgeous, but that would be light during the day and night, right? So it would have light from the sun during the day and it would guide them with the cloud. And at night it would be fire. That's crazy. I love that. All right, so now on to chapter 14 because it is the rest of the Israel's wilderness detour. And then the Egyptians pursue Israel and then escape through the Red Sea. This is my favorite, where Moses parts the Red Sea. All right, here we go. I keep doing that wrong. Oh, great.
Exodus chapter 14. Then the Lord gave these instructions to Moses. Order the Israelites to turn back and camp by Pi-hahiroth between Migdol and the sea. Camp there along the shore across from Baal-zephon. Then Pharaoh will think, the Israelites are confused. They are trapped in the wilderness. And once again I will harden Pharaoh's heart and he will chase after you. I have planned this in order to display my glory through Pharaoh and his whole army. After this the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. So the Israelites camped there as they were told.
So he did it again. Okay, so, and once again, I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will chase after you. It says Hebrew after them. I have planned this in order to display my glory through Pharaoh and his whole army. After this, the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. So the Israelites camped there as they were told. The Egyptians pursue Israel. Why does God keep doing this? Right? Why does God keep hardening Pharaoh's heart and making him be a mean person, right? Why can't he just make him a good person? Even though I know, right? So it says he will think that the Israelites are confused. They are trapped in the wilderness. He will harden his heart again, and they will chase after you. He said, I've planned this in order to display my glory through Pharaoh and his whole army. God could have did it another way, don't you think? I think. But again, God's ways are higher and much, much more higher. He's already done, 10 plagues. He's already killed the firstborn, which is one of the plagues, right? So now we're dedicating our firstborn sons to the Lord, right? And all the Israels are now lost in the wilderness. I thought this was the 40 days, but it's not. When Pharaoh finally let them go, God did not lead them to the main road. Instead, he made them look like they were lost, so that way the Egyptians would pursue them, and he can show his mighty hands again, right? Try this again.
The Egyptians pursued Israel. When word reached the king of Egypt that the Israelites had fled, Pharaoh and his officials changed their minds. What have we done, letting all those Israelite slaves get away? They asked. So Pharaoh harnessed his chariot and called up his troops. He took with him 600 of Egypt's best chariots, along with the rest of the chariots of Egypt, each with its commander. The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, so he chased after the people of Israel, who had left with fists raised in defiance. The Egyptians chased after them with all the forces in Pharaoh's army, all his horses and chariots, his charioteers and his troops.
So the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, the king of the Egyptians. So he chased after the people of Israel, right? So the people of Israel who had their lips raised with defiance. Who were they defying? Were they defying God, or were they defying the Pharaoh, right? So the Egyptians chased after them with the force of the Pharaoh's army.
The Egyptians caught up with the people of Israel as they were camped beside the shore near Pi-hahiroth, across from Baal-zephon. As Pharaoh approached, the people of Israel looked up and panicked when they saw the Egyptians overtaking them. They cried out to the Lord, and they said to Moses, Why did you bring us out here to die in the wilderness? Weren't there enough graves for us in Egypt? What have you done to us? Why did you make us leave Egypt? Didn't we tell you this would happen while we were still in Egypt? We said, leave us alone. Let us be slaves to the Egyptians. It's better to be a slave in Egypt than a corpse in the wilderness.
I like this one. There's more to this story, I think. Right? So why did you bring us out here to die in the wilderness, right? They panicked when they saw the Egyptians overtaking them, right? As Pharaoh approached the people of Israel, they looked up and panicked. They cried out to the Lord, and they said to Moses, why did you bring us here to die in the wilderness? Wasn't there enough graves for us in Egypt? What have you done to us? How many times did they say this? What have you done to us? Why? Again. So this is God. So he's hardening Pharaoh and his officials' hearts, but then he's also hurting the Israelites and confusing them and making them think that God is not there for them, that Moses is not doing what God asked, because they're hurting more now than they were before, right? That's what they're thinking, right? He did say, we said, leave us alone and let us be slaves to the Egyptians. So they think they were better off slaves than being a corpse in the wilderness. Now watch what God does.
But Moses told the people,
Don't be afraid. Just stand still and watch the Lord rescue you today. The Egyptians you see today will never be seen again. The Lord himself will fight for you. Just stay calm.
I like that. That's why I highlighted that one, right? So do not be afraid. Just stand still and watch the Lord rescue you today. This is what I'm trying to work on right now. Because like I said, I had a spaz session and I hate it. I hate it and I hate it. And it's hard to trust that God has our, intentions, our good intentions, and to know what his plans are for our lives, what his plans are for my son's lives, right? The Lord himself. So stand still, and Moses knows that the Egyptians will never be seen again. The Lord himself will fight for you. Just stay calm, right? Watch this. Is it miracle, majesty, this miraculous sign?
Escape through the Red Sea. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the people to get moving. Pick up your staff and raise your hand over the sea. Divide the water so the Israelites can walk through the middle of the sea on dry ground. And I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they will charge in after the Israelites. My great glory will be displayed through Pharaoh and his troops, his chariots and his charioteers. When my glory is displayed through them, all Egypt will see my glory and know that I am the Lord." Then the angel of God, who had been leading the people of Israel, moved to the rear of the camp. The pillar of cloud also moved from the front and stood behind them. The cloud set.
So the angel of God who had been leading the people, remember the pillar of cloud and the fire, right? So the pillar of cloud also moved from the front and stood behind them. So instead of leading them, he's guarding them from the back.
Settled between the Egyptian and Israelite camps. As darkness fell, the cloud turned to fire, lighting up the night. But the Egyptians and Israelites did not approach each other all night. Then Moses raised his hand over the sea, and the Lord opened up a path through the water with a strong east wind. The wind blew all that night, turning the seabed into dry land. So the people of Israel walked through the middle of the sea on dry ground, with walls of water on each side. Then the Egyptians, all of Pharaoh's horses, chariots, and charioteers, chased them into the middle of the sea. But just before dawn, the Lord looked down on the Egyptian army from the pillar of fire and cloud, and he threw their forces into total confusion. He twisted their chariot wheels, making their chariots difficult to drive. "Let's get out of here, away from these Israelites," the Egyptians shouted. "The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt." When all the Israelites had reached the other side, the Lord said to Moses, "Raise your hand over the sea again. Then the waters will rush back and cover the Egyptians and their chariots and charioteers." So as the sun began to rise, Moses raised his hand over the sea, and the water rushed back into its usual place. The Egyptians tried to escape, but the Lord swept them into the sea. Then the waters returned and covered all the chariots and charioteers, the entire army of Pharaoh. Of all the Egyptians who had chased the Israelites into the sea, not a single one survived. But the people of Israel had walked through the middle of the sea on dry ground, as the water stood up like a wall on both sides. That is how the Lord rescued Israel from the hand of the Egyptians that day. And the Israelites saw the bodies of the Egyptians washed up on the seashore. When the people of Israel saw the mighty power that the Lord had unleashed against the Egyptians, they were filled with awe before him. They put their faith in the Lord and in his servant Moses.
Can you imagine? That is awesome. Look, he twisted, as in Greek version, Samaritan Pentateuch. In the Syriac version, Hebrew reads, he removed. So he removed their wheels, right? Their chariot wheels, making their chariots difficult to drive. "Let's get out of here, away from the Israelites," the Egyptians shout. They know that the Lord is fighting for them against Egypt. Can you imagine the fear in the Egyptians' eyes, right? in their hearts. Even they saw that they're getting something's right there. They saw that these Israelites were walking away in the sea, right? Can you imagine the walls, or how big the walls must be? I love the narrator or whatever of Moses, and you see them walking through, and then the waters returned and covered all the chariots. That's so sad, because he did, right? So he flooded the earth with Moses' story, and now he flooded the Egyptians for the Israelites to save them, right? They had walked through, the Israel people had walked through the middle of the sea on dry grounds as the water stood up like a wall on both sides. That is how the Lord rescued Israel from the hands of the Egyptians that day. And then they saw the bodies just wash up on the shore. When the people of Israel saw the mighty power that was unleashed against the Egyptians, they were filled with awe before him, and they put their faith in the Lord and his servant Moses. Oh man, I love it. I love it, and it's sad, but it's awesome, because again, it displays God's hand in all of our lives, and it's a significance to something. You know, it's relatable somehow, some way. It is relatable. So let's. I don't know, but finish that real quick, and then just had to finish that music. That is it. We did chapter 13 and chapter 14. Yay, yay, yay. We already read the notes for the Passover, so now we need to read our the Red Sea, and then we'll get into the Song of Deliverance. I love songs. Ooh, I love songs. So we'll see you back here shortly. I have to feed Noah because, you know, he only had raviolis and he's been asking for a bowl of cereal. So I'm going to help him. And then see what all these Snapchats are from Callie, which is my, like I said, my niece in Alabama.
In Alabama.
All right. I love you guys, and we'll see you back here shortly for our next video. Mwah. I love you. God loves you. And no matter if you freak out and spaz on your kids, God will find a way, because God spazzed on his kids. Dedicate them to the Lord, and just know that he has his ways. And like I said, all I can do right now is pray, and pray some more, and ask for help, please. I need parental help, please. I love you guys, and God loves you, and we'll see you shortly for the Song of Deliverance. Yay! Mwah. Love you.